Didn't bring my water up. That's a silly mistake.
This is what we're like before we go live. It's like the Laurel and Hardy show.
It is.
So I can see on Facebook, Crypto Like a Pro, the live show is now broadcasting live on Facebook. How you doing, guys? My name's Gavin, the host. This to my left is Mr. Andy Demi playing the Bella Ciao Greek remix.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Thought it might put a smile on your face, mate.
That's better. That's what I like to see. That's what I like to hear.
So I'm using all this modern technology. I'm streaming it through my laptop.
We can't hear anything.
Live stream.
Are you playing music now?
You can't hear it?
No.
You can't hear any Can anybody hear any music?
Right now? Nobody can hear music. They don't know. Well,
you can't speak for the people. You're not the president. So if someone can just put in the comment section, can you hear some music right now?
And he's got silence, basically.
Oh, okay. Yep, it looks like no one can hear any music. Wow. So,
mate, you're disappointing us. Can you sort it out?
The AirPods are taking all the tunes. That's so funny.
Yeah, exactly, Nick. Just as you were saying how advanced it is.
Okay, let me try.
We can't start the show. Let's try. No, we can't hear the music, and we can't hear you. It's very, very disappointing, to be honest with you.
No.
Yeah. There we go. He started. What? DJ Gavin in the house.
I am now technology in the house. I'm going to go and work in Silicon Valley after this. Trust me.
You've definitely got the tights for it, mate. If anyone wants to see Gavin in tights, just make him stand up.
Don't know what you're on about.
Honestly, guys, he's wearing tights today. I've seen it with my own eyes.
You have not seen anything. This is all lies.
He is. I promise.
You know when you go to the gym and you wear the leggings to keep all the moisture in, to stop your sweat, to stop your hamstrings from getting too tight. All of that.
He's wearing tights, basically, guys. He's branding it very well. He's very good at marketing, very good at branding.
Hey, don't worry about me. Let's talk about cryptos. So guys, thank you very much for tuning in. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook. We're 3 minutes in. We're going to skip the comment about the tights. No one wants to know about that. What you are here for. And exactly, Nick is saying it's skins. They're not tights. They're a thing here in Australia. Australian men are very comfortable in their masculinity and their sexuality. And I am embracing that as an honorary.
Why are you refusing to stand up then and show people your tights?
Because I'll stand up in my own time.
It's not embracing, is it? You're hiding.
I'm not the real Slim Shady either. So that's an early noughties joke. Anyway. Oh, Nick, who is from Australia. I don't wear them, lol. Don't include me. Thanks a lot, mate.
Oh, you kind
of brilliant. Let's skip him and go on to someone else. Swiftly changing the subject. Andy McAlpine's in the house. Thank you very much. Facebook user, you've got no excuse. I posted a link. The StreamYard link was posted in the pre-show video. All we ask, guys, is just click the link, register, so I can see who is giving me stick. So I can send you some. Cat poo in the post. That's all I'm asking. Just let me see your name and your Facebook thumbnail, and I will find you. Don't worry about it. It's cool. But look, with all joking aside, thank you very much for being here. Today we talk about all things cryptos, and it seems like things are starting to move. We've got lots of news coming out this week. We've got like the aid to the president of Colombia saying Bitcoin is the best software technology ever designed. will be looking to implement it. We've got Walmart, who are one of the biggest store chains in America. They're looking at doing their own crypto product to take payments and things like that. So the market is starting to get positivity coming out into the mainstream again. You're kind of scrunching your face up like either you need the toilet or you don't agree with what I'm saying. Which one is it?
No, I'm just laughing at one of the comments to you.
Focus, Danielson. Focus.
I am very focused.
So what's the answer to the question then?
The answer is yes.
He doesn't know. I'm so glad you guys are here. He really doesn't listen. Basco, thank you very much for tuning in. Hey guys, have you heard of DeLorean? Andy, what's your take on that?
No, I haven't, to be honest. I'll be happy to have a look at it, but I don't know it.
Yeah, send us the ticker and we can have a look at it. DLN. I heard DLN, cool, wicked. Looks like I need to take my advice and pay some attention as well. I've heard of one that is just some news came out. This one spiked up. Audio or Audius? I can't remember how it's spelled.
It's not even on TradingView, DLN.
Really?
No.
One's just spiked up. It's like doubled up. It went from like 175 to over $4. They've just teamed up with TikTok. They're called Audio, I believe. Oh, was that Sab giving me stick? Can you see me now? Yes, I can, Mr. Hannon. Good to have you with us, my friend. Hope everything is good with you. Sab saying Audio went mad. So they did an announcement. They've partnered up with TikTok, which is obviously a great thing. They've
like a tiny coin. This DeLorean.
Which one?
It's not even on CoinMarketCap.
Okay.
DeLorean, it's tiny.
So the interesting
why this person who mentioned it. I can see why they're interested. It's up like
Basco
6,815% in a month.
Nice. And this is the thing, right? These small cap coins and the altcoins are really starting to move. Are we about to get the altcoin season that people have been talking about, like sunshine in the UK? It's been promised, but it never really happens. It might pop up for a couple of days and then you can't make any plans around it. But just this last day and this last week, altcoins are starting to move. They're moving like 30-40% in a day. Obviously this one, DeLorean's gone bonkers as well. So it's an interesting time. So tell us, as a professional trader, what is your current market sentiment regarding the crypto market?
The sentiment is more towards the bull side. I think that although Bitcoin has still got, I spoke about Bitcoin last week having to get through a key zone, and that's between 50 and 52,000. So Bitcoin does lead the market. However, I think right now is altcoin season, and I think Bitcoin will lag behind some of the altcoins or altcoins in general. And we've kind of seen that with some of the cryptos like Solana, ADA, where they're basically breaking, towards their highs or breaking their highs, whereas Bitcoin is still some way away from its high. But overall, the sentiment is bullish, but still, like, I'm not piling in on margin. I don't think it's the right time. I think with some crypto, you can use some margin to just increase your exposure, like ones that are well priced or have proven that they're back in a bull trend. So, some of the ones that I just mentioned, they're like ADA, like Solana. If you get a nice pullback, you could say that those are worth kind of accumulating and possibly using some margin. Bitcoin for me needs to break 50 to 52,000. If it breaks that, then I'm going to be looking for it to break its all-time high and in the next 2-3 months probably hit 100,000 would be my guess. And that's what I'll be playing that sort of move on multiple trades towards the 100,000. So I won't be looking just to make 50 grand. I'll be looking to make multiple trades up towards that goal, and I will be using margin to trade it.
Yeah, and obviously that's a very specific skill set which can be done, but yeah, it's going to be very interesting to get your breakdown on how to come in and out of things like that. So yeah, we are about to jump in to do the live trade analysis on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Back in the room, Andy, back in the room. It's so funny, this camera angle, you just got to look, you're looking at your charts, you're looking at the thing. We're on a webcam, my friend. Look at our audience. They want to see your face.
No, they don't.
They want to see, they want to see your tights. They want to see, stand up, mate. They want to see your tights. That's what you're wearing. But in all seriousness, we are going to jump in like we do, and we're going to jump in to the Ethereum chart and the Bitcoin chart. But the general consensus seems to be at the moment that everybody's expecting Bitcoin to hit 100K and Ethereum to hit 10K within the next 3 months. That seems to be the general consensus. Whether that happens or not, who knows? But like you said, if altcoin season can sustain itself before then that's going to create some really, really interesting opportunities. So maybe next week we can move away from the two big monsters, and we can maybe do a couple of breakdowns on the altcoins. What is interesting to me that's come up, do you think the reason this year why the altcoins are kind of superseding Bitcoin's movement because the hedge funds have got in and they're starting to pull it down so that they can DCA in and load up in? Do you think there's any tomfoolery around that, or is it just literally as innocent as it seems that it's altcoin season and that's it? Because my contention would be that the hedge funds don't have enough money, they don't have enough liquidity to affect all of these altcoins. They can affect a couple of them, but then now what's happening is we're seeing these super rocketing up on the altcoins that they're never going to have a chance to control.
Honestly, I mean, I think markets can do get manipulated in that way, but I don't think that specifically, you know, the reason it's always been the case where Bitcoin outperforms, and then and you can kind of look at market dominance charts where you can see the percentage that Bitcoin owns versus the altcoins, and then it kind of shifts, and it always has historically, even before institutions were there. So I don't think that necessarily institutions are involved in that. I just think it's time for altcoins to catch up, and ultimately, you know, altcoins have their own purpose, and this is something we've been speaking about quite a lot. It's not the Bitcoin show. Bitcoin is a currency, and it's the most popular currency, but all these altcoins have a massive purpose. And for me, the biggest category is the DeFi space, and I think that's where the biggest value can be found right now. You know, I was kind of saying this to one of the students. You know, the way you want to look at things as well is that DeFi is where institutions are going to be investing in, and then categories like NFTs are more retail. So for me right now, there's a disparity. Like DeFi is undervalued compared to something like NFT, and you can plot the charts together and you can see that. Like you had a massive surge, which is basically coming from FOMO, and then you've got the DeFi space, which for me is still very well priced. So you could be that's where I think there's value to be found. Even off the back of this surge, I still think compared to some other coins, they're still really well priced. So, and I think that's going to help the altcoins outperform Bitcoin, because I think money will be flowing there from institutions. That's kind of the next obvious category where institutions should be investing, because that's kind of what I see is replacing our banking system. So
it's going to happen at some stage. It's going to happen. I saw in the group now. There's another bank. Lloyd's are not letting people transfer money over to certain cryptos and things like that. They're all, if you think about it logically, guys, they've got an oligopoly, right? So it's like the petrol stations. They all price things. They all price petrol at the same price in the areas, and they keep that price. And it's in economics, it's oligopoly is the word that they use for that. So these banks have had this control, and now someone else has come in and they can't really get their cut. They don't know how they're going to make money. They can't control things. And of course, they're not going to push people over to the competition. It's really interesting that people think that all of this change does not come without a few bumps along the way, for sure. And it's just going to be interesting how much change people can take before they start to get freaked out and bail out. But it's really interesting what, like the classic adage is, when everybody's buying property, then you want to be selling. When everybody's in the market and they're buying everything, that's when you want to be selling. And it's the same kind of principle here. One thing that's really interesting, mate, that I want to ask you is with regards to the DeFi space and this kind of slowly transitioning in and outperforming NFTs. And it makes sense what you said totally about NFTs being a retail play. And that's why they've had that explosive growth. Over what time period do you see DeFi coming in and kind of taking over from NFTs when the institutions get involved?
Right. I think now is that I think money's going to be flowing there now. Like, I think you've got to think, obviously money's going to be going into, like when you read online, you will see that a lot of hedge funds now are allowing a small percentage, even massive hedge funds, in cryptos. And that doesn't mean just Bitcoin. They're not restricted to just Bitcoin. So I think directly or indirectly, money's going to be flowing into the DeFi space now. I think there's going to be a shift. That's not to say you should jump out of all your NFT positions. We've got positions in non-fungible tokens, but I think right now where I'm accumulating is not in that space, because for me that's kind of had a big run, and it could go a bit more as a whole. I think there's some gems in that category that will just win the race, but I think the whole DeFi space is going to go up. So I almost think, like, if you go into that category and you invested a little bit in each one, I think you do pretty well. But obviously if you hand select your coins, but I think the time is now, honestly. That's where I'm accumulating right now. I think there's massive value. Compound at $500 is really good value. I see that coin as being 2,000 by the end of the year. So
yeah, and that's exactly what Susan's just said. What are your favorite DeFi cryptos? So Compound would be one that you would class in that category then, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think that one is one of the big ones. It's one of the most established ones. It's already doing really well. It's already kind of linked up. If you go on, and what they provide is amazing. It's literally everything we want in banking that we don't have. No middleman, borrowing and lending without credit checks, just based on, it's to me, it's crazy, the current system. Like, you could, like, there's people, right, that have got wealth. You could have 10 houses, right? You could have thousands or even hundreds of thousands in the bank, and you could go for a loan and they will say, oh, sorry, your credit's not good. There's no money for you. It makes no sense whatsoever. So the new system cuts out the middleman. It cuts, so you can lend and borrow without the middleman. It's safe. There's nobody involved. Nobody's got custody of your money. It sits in a blockchain. It's an incredible technology. And Compound, in my opinion, is at the forefront of that and is the leader in that. But there's other DeFi categories which will complement that, and there will do other functions. And all of it is important as part of the ecosystem. But that's, we can talk about Ethereum, we can talk about Bitcoin, we can talk about Cardano, and all of these projects have massive potential for growth from where we are. But Bitcoin has already grown a lot. $200. It's now, $50,000. Ethereum has grown. Cardano has grown in many respects, from where it started at 3 cents, 2-3 cents, not that long ago.
You bought into that as well early days, didn't you?
I did.
You got into that one quite early.
That was one of the top ones that I got. I didn't get in at 3 cents. I bought quite a lot at 30 cents. And that actually really helped me grow my account. As you know, I took 30K and turned it into just over 300K. And part of it was like Cardano, Icon. I got in really, really early and I held on for the whole ride. And that's part of the journey. But right now, I still think there's a lot of these opportunities. I think, we'll be talking about some of these projects now, especially as I said, in the DeFi space, where like you've got Compound at 500 and at some point it could easily be 10,000. And that's not pie in the sky. It's if we're going where I think we're going, that can easily happen. So, so I think the opportunities, you've got to think, where is the opportunity right now? Now, as you guys also should be doing, you should also be trading and building your income that way. So invest, but also trade opportunities, take that money and then invest it. That's the best way. That's kind of what I'm doing. I mean, I'm in a trade right now. I can share the chart with people. If we want to jump into the charts.
Love it. Let's do it. They're not here to look at our faces, mate. As cute as you may be, they are here to see your beautiful brains in action. So let's get started with the live action stuff, mate, because that's where we get the most value for sure.
Okay, 1 second. Let me find. Okay. Right. So I will bring in my chart. So this one is, and this is where and I've showed examples of things like this in the past, where we mustn't get emotional or have sentiment towards any particular crypto. So if I show you, this is SOL Solana. I'm really bullish on this project, and I do have this as part of my long-term portfolio. Okay, now this is a good example, and the reason I'm bringing this one up is when we look at Bitcoin, it's not breaking its all-time highs. This has broken its all-time highs, which is really, really bullish. And if you look at some of the other projects, you can see that starting to happen. So the altcoins are kind of winning the race. And I believe this is going to go a lot higher. However, I can also see an opportunity to make money without sentiment. And that's a really important part, a really important skill in trading. And so if you see here, I got an alert this morning that this cryptocurrency was hitting my angle resistance line. So I had a look at the chart, and I identified an opportunity to sell it. So that's basically what I'm doing. I've sold this, and I'm looking for a pullback. I've got a couple of targets, but I guess the point is, if I just show you what I'm looking for and how I'm managing the trade, it will kind of give you a bit of an insight. So what I normally do is, I'm getting another alert for a different cryptocurrency. So what I normally do, so this is an example here. I basically have two targets sometimes. So in this case, I'm going for an easy target, which is basically back to old resistance that becomes support. And then what the plan is if that target gets hit, I'm then going to move my stop down to a break-even trade and just let it see if it can go a little bit lower. Sometimes it will just kind of crash because the market's gone up really high, and you just don't know what you're going to get. Now, in this case, I've actually put a second take profit. In other situations, I would actually just leave this open and just trail my stop down. And I've caught some really, really big moves doing things like that. So I guess the point is like when I look at something, I'm not looking at it just from a point of view of like, you know, I've got this in my long-term portfolio as a long. So my sentiment is this is going higher. So if it goes higher, I'm making money. But by trading it, I'm able to take advantage of these kind of turning points and basically build my income up. And then I take that profit and then I go and invest it into other cryptocurrencies. So that's the advantage of actually trading these markets. Let me bring up Bitcoin, guys, because I think it's important that we go and we look at Bitcoin and we speak about Bitcoin, because I think it's key. And this is where we are right now. We are at this kind of high point where we have these old support points that naturally become new resistance points, right? So this is a selling area. This is definitely a selling area. And we can actually block this up into a slightly bigger block where we say, well, where was previous old support as well? Up there. So for me, this area here is the area that we need to break. So this is an area that is going to attract sellers. And once we are here, we've got, for me, we've got free room now. And I'd be expecting us to go to at least $100,000 this year. But we have to break this area. And so if you go long right now, you are buying very close to this area, like the first point of this area. And I'm not, look, if you're buying at spot, that's absolutely fine. At the end of the day, if you buy some here and if it goes low, you buy a bit more, that's no problem. If you're leveraging though, then it's a problem because you're buying at resistance and your leverage position will be at risk to be liquidated. So in my opinion, if you're going to buy at spot, it's fine. But I would kind of really question whether this is the right time to be buying Bitcoin at these highs. My preference and my wish is that we come back into this zone here and then you start to look to accumulate. So this would be my preferred buy zone. I think if it comes back into this zone here, look, old resistance here, that becomes future support. And then you can see, again, old resistance here, that becomes support. So this area here is a great area. And if it kind of goes a little bit lower, which would take you down to the bottom of the channel. So you could potentially even go a little bit lower. So up down to here. It's not impossible. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me at all if that happened. Like literally, this is what the markets like to do. If I just kind of show you, I will actually bring something up in a minute as well. Let me know if there's any questions, Gavin, because I can't see the questions at the moment.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. A question I've got before we jump into the other questions. So does this mean we're out of the woods with regards to Bitcoin likely going down below 30K? Because that looks like a pretty strong wall now around that 34 to 40,000 mark. Is that where we're expecting that retracement now? It's not going to go any lower than that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like as long as we stay above this last red line here, as long as we stay above that, if we go below here, then this move is back in play. I'm not expecting that right now, not based on the sentiment, but things can change quite quickly. Why I like this particular zone here, more so than even this zone here, is any ideas why I like this zone more? Yes, one, it's a better price.
Guys, feel free to jump in as well, and I'll keep a lookout for your questions or your answers so that we can give you a bit of coaching. Let me just zoom in because I'm trying to look at the comments. So what was the section? Just say it again.
So this one here, like I prefer this area here than this one, but this is still a good area to buy. If you're accumulating, then this is where you want to be putting buy orders. Some here and possibly some here. If you're buying, and you could even do it with leverage. If you were getting this price here, I'd have no problem with you doing it with leverage, because realistically, you could put a stop behind this big wall here, which is old resistance. Look how much resistance there is that becomes support. You've got a lot of protection here. So you could buy on margin here with a stop somewhere here. Yeah, I mean, from a technical point of view, many intersecting lines, cross of angle lines, yep. But you know what I particularly like as well is there's going to be a lot of stops here. Why? Because that's what textbook teaches you to do, to place it behind a swing.
So now we're channeling the Darth Demi, aren't we? We're channeling the dark side.
The dark side.
As Zachariah, perfect timing. He's saying he thinks that area you like because that zone encourages more of a drop and panic sell from people. Absolutely.
It's like, oh my word, what's going on? I thought we were going up. We're not. We're going down. Bang. And then that. It feels like right now, well, I might be getting it wrong, but it feels like a lot of people are kind of bullish.
I agree with that.
Which is probably a sign that if that is the case, if there's a big sentiment towards this market being really bullish, that normally leads to a drop.
It's what we were saying earlier, right?
The opposite, yeah. So I'm just, like I said, I think right now we can be cautiously optimistic, but also don't load up here. It's not smart.
Yeah.
It's not smart because you're basically FOMOing in that you're going to miss out. I'll tell you something. Look, the price is 46,000, and we've got this big wall to get through. I'd rather we were here and then looking to buy it. I wouldn't be thinking, oh man, I missed it. I should have bought it at 46. I'm thinking, thank God for that. We're over this big roadblock. You know, all these sellers are gone now. And now they're going to join me in buying this market. And we're going to start to look for buying opportunities. And the moves are probably going to be quite fast. We could probably do it on leverage. We could probably do it with smaller stops. And we're probably going to make a lot more money with a lot less headache. That's how my brain thinks. And then equally, if we get the blessing and we get this pushed down, I'd be more than happy to start buying at these levels as well. Right now, for me, this is day trading zone. Like we can day trade this, we can trade little levels, we can make some money, but I wouldn't be kind of doing more than that right now on Bitcoin.
Sounds good, my friend. Sounds good. And I mean, yeah, you've taught me this stuff, and even just watching it every week, co-hosting the show with you, you can see, like when I'm buying in crypto projects, I'm getting a better price because I can see, instead of just buying in, you're like, no, actually, I can see I've just got to be a bit patient. As long as I activate patience, it invariably will come down to the price action point that you talk about. And it's really just activating that patience. And it makes such a difference instead of just being in with the crowd and just getting caught up in all of the hype and the FOMO and everything, and just being able to take a step back and just, sometimes it's counterproductive and you try and wait for too good a price. But most of the time, especially for me, I'm like, yeah, I'm really glad that I was able to see that and get a way better price. For the same money, I'm buying more tokens or more coins, which will pay dividends in the medium and long term, for sure, depending upon what your own individual strategy is. But for me personally, that's what I want to share about that situation. And it's almost like, that trade you were looking at before, SOL, you're trading that short, but now what we're waiting for is, because it's broken the ATH, we're waiting for that ATH you're probably shorting that down to where that price action is now resistance turns into support. And then you're knowing how your brain works now a little bit, I would hazard a guess that you'll probably look at getting, if that shows that there's the right price action and that resistance is now becoming support, there might be a bounce and a reaction back up. You'll probably take both sides, right?
Yeah, I mean, for day trading purposes, definitely. And that's the thing with trading, is that you're just looking for short-term opportunities. And you have a different hat on for investing. So like when you're buying for the long term, then yeah, you try and get a good price. And obviously there's various techniques of doing that. You can buy, like, you can dollar cost average in as well, so that in case it does keep going, you don't miss the whole move. But most of the time they do pull back, even when you don't expect them to. So especially right now, I mean, when you look at, I guess, like if we were having this conversation, and even though altcoins are doing their own thing in some respects, Bitcoin's always going to have an impact on the whole market. And if we were having this conversation and we were up here, as I was saying, and we've kind of cleared the big roadblocks, you might want to be a bit more aggressive with your buying. You may not want to necessarily wait for the 618 pullback, because it's now like, okay, we're all long, like we're all in the same page. Right now, there's uncertainty. There's like a battle going on. There's like major levels that's going to attract sellers. So you're much more likely to get pullbacks in this market than you are, like I said, if we were maybe in a month's time and we're above that kind of key block. So you have to think about what market you're trading. That's what we always say. Context is super important. You have to trade what is happening right now, the sentiment, and yeah, just be kind of neutral in terms of, like, don't get emotional about selling your favorite crypto. We're ultimately here to make money. So you have to just kind of be, just trade without that emotion.
Cool. And look, just while we're here, let's just have a little overview of Ethereum as well, just to see how we're doing for that, and then we'll call it a day for today. It was really good to see that live trade that you're in, and obviously see that breakdown. And it's always great to see what Bitcoin's likely to do. I know it's a great time. I always look forward to this, because then you can kind of see what the next few days or a week is likely to have in store, especially for Bitcoin. So it'd be nice to see where we are with Ethereum and what your viewpoint on that is over the next few days and week ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I've got right now. I am generally bullish, but similar to Bitcoin, I think it would be nice to see a pullback here. I'm almost expecting some kind of pullback, possibly. If it's going to be a sharper pullback, then we might see something like this. We've got to be prepared. Like, again, some old resistance becoming future support alongside our 50 EMA here. If something dramatic happens, you could get, again, a bit of a clean up a few people, let's say, and then the market goes higher. Look at the way that this market has gone up. It's gone up pretty aggressively. But if you kind of look at the way it's going up now, it's just kind of channeling. And that's kind of seen as a bearish signal. So it wouldn't surprise me if we did something like that, where we take out the channel high and then maybe kind of find some resistance here, like around 3.5. So we go bang, and then something like that, because you'll get like people jumping in, and then we take out possibly those lows, and then we eventually go higher. if we look at the lower time frames, let's see if there's any other things we can talk about there. So yeah, I mean, you can kind of see a couple of things here. I'm just going to add in the MACD. I'm going to add in, take away this. I'm going to add in the RSI as well. Yeah, it's kind of what I suspected. That's very interesting. Based on what I just said, could happen. That was without looking at the fibs. We were looking at basically potentially maybe going and hitting that 3.5, right? We said, and that 3.5. If I just remind you, that's the. If you have a look over here, guys, can you see old support here coming in about 3,480? Yeah, so support right there. What's quite interesting about that is when I've just had a look at the 4-hour chart, have a look at where my Fibonacci is pointing to. It's literally pointing to that zone. So 3,450 with a spike is about 3,480. So it's almost lined up. Now, have a look at this. What do you guys see here? Now, this is the MFI. This one is the MACD. This one is the RSI. What do we see? And that is the top of the channel right there. Let's see what people say. I'll make this bigger now. Divergence. Excellent, Sab. Divergence. And I really like that idea of selling a push up to here. So you stick your alert in here in this block, and then we have a look. But that zone, and you could stick an order in, but my preference here would be to stick an alert, assess the price action, make sure it's not some crazy Elon Musk tweet that's made Ethereum get up there and it's smashing through 4,000 and we're selling it at 3.5. We don't want that. We want to see that the market's stopping, it's stalling where we expect it to. And then similar to what I've just done there with SOL, I would short that. I would short that back down. That's my kind of trading style. I'm not really a trend trader. I prefer to catch reversals. That's where I'm best at. That's kind of where I've excelled in FX. That's where I've made my money, basically, through those kind of trades. And I do the same with cryptos. But it's a completely different game with cryptos because you're dealing more with retail. But that's the kind of thing I'd be expecting and wanting and waiting for, because it all lines up on multiple time frames. And for me, that's a really nice setup. So you just need to stick your alerts in, be ready, stick your alert in before, and get ready, and wait for the price action to confirm. And then if you're comfortable with it, take the short. And you could go for a bigger target, or you could go for just back to scalp to there, or back to the old channel line. Generally speaking, I'd go for a bit more, because I'm expecting this to be a fake out, a shakeout, and then up. A fake out and a shakeout.
That has got to be on a t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Does that make sense? Look at that. 3 divergences there.
You can tell who the students are. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
But thank you very much for that. And guys, hopefully you've got a ton of value as usual. Mr. Demi dropping Dem knowledge bombs, and also channeling a bit of his inner Darth Demi this week and revealing his dark side from when he used to work at the hedge funds to go hunting for innocent little retail traders and their stops. So that has been the show this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. Just going to check in with the comments. So yeah, just to clarify for Zach, in short, you can expect ETH to hit a wall soon.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're preparing for. So everything in trading is preparation. It doesn't mean it's going to work out that way. That's why I said, ideally, you don't stick an order in there because you might be selling like an Elon Musk tweet or some craziness going on in the market, and it's not stopping, and you're getting in short. I prefer alerts because I can just have a quick little look. Yep, actually, that's what I'm expecting. There's some selling coming in. And then that way as well, if you're on your charts, you can go to the order flow the way we teach you and look to see if there's any blocks there to help your trade. And then you feel much more comfortable taking that short. And then I can see the second part of your question is like, and then would you then buy from there? Yeah, buying is also its own plan. So although like I might have a target, say, for example, to old resistance at the bottom of the channel, it may not necessarily make sense for me to buy it there. I'm just thinking, where can I quite easily get my profit and put it in my pocket? And then once I've done that, now I just switch allegiances. I go with the other. I think, okay, well, now where can I get in at a good value point to buy it? And the two are not always the same.
Exactly that. And JK's in the house tuning in live on YouTube. He's saying, hi, bought ADA, ETH, and BTC last year. Gonna hold them for the next 5 years at least. So the drinks will be on you in 5 years' time because you'll be more than able to afford it. That's a nice little bundle that you bought there. Hope you got a good price on them. Yeah,
definitely. I think that's the reality is if you hold on to these to things, I think we've got quite a long way to go still before we have the official bear market. So I think 12 months is probably a time where we may get a pullback, but if you hold on, I mean, in 5 years, it's going to be worth a lot more, and use the opportunity on any pullbacks to buy more.
DCA. Obviously, do your own research at that time. Yeah, it's an exciting time, and I know we know everybody can't come on to the program. Money's tight at the moment around the world. Business is closing. The whole Rona is throwing everything around. No one really knows what's going on. But I know that you are trying to work on a way to try and help more people within the group with other products and services. So it's going to be very exciting to, whenever you can get that ready, to kind of offer it out to more of the masses, so that at least if you can't learn everything and do it yourself, at least there's some way of taking action and getting involved and making some money, because, no one wants to sit here in 12 months' time, keep watching these shows and no one's made any money, which is a very feasible but sad state of affairs that a lot of people will probably fall into just because they don't know enough to take action on. So yeah, we'll be in touch soon with you guys with more information on that once Andy can get something figured out on that, right, mate?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the goal. That's the mission, is to help people succeed at this. I mean, it's great. The education part is great. Learning is great. I enjoy it myself. I enjoy learning new things. But ultimately, we also need to make sure we're focused on the prize, make sure that we're getting results. Because I honestly think, people saying that they're going to hold on for the next 5 or 10 years, I think that if you do the right things in the next few years, even if you are starting really small, it applies to you. Even if you've got $100 right now or $200, it applies to you. In the next 4 to 5 years, you can be in a place that you couldn't even imagine today, because what we are seeing right now is an opportunity that we probably won't see in our lifetimes for sure. Well, unlikely anyway. We don't know what the future holds, and I think the key thing now is like, just do the right things. Make sure you're learning, investing, listening, and taking action, because ultimately, if you don't take any action, nothing's going to change. So even if it's starting small, it's better to start small than to do nothing. And you'll be amazed at to what small can lead to in 4 or 5 years' time of patience and discipline. I've seen it with my own eyes. People become millionaires from cryptos who started early, invested a small amount, and just stuck with it, and then reinvested when they've got growth, and just used portfolio management correctly to grow their accounts and not getting attached. So you've got to do the right things. You can't be trading with fear. You can't be investing with fear. You've got to do it in a nice, in the right way. Your mental state has to be right. And the person there that said, look, I'm going to hold for the next 5 years. If you genuinely do that, you're going to be in an amazing position. If you actually follow through on what you think you're going to do, you're going to be in an amazing position. And a lot of people won't do it because they get greedy and fearful. Or what if I lose my money? And it's because they're not in the right mental state. So you have to get your state right first, and everything else will come into play. And just keep turning up, keep asking questions, keep at it basically, and think things will happen.
Wise words to end the show. Ditto, my friend, ditto. So look, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. We are going to bounce. It's fantastic that we've got this group and there's the knowledge in the group. Ask questions, guys. There are a lot of people that are willing to give up their time and energy to help out. Even if you do start small, like Andy said, the fact that you're here, investing the time now to learn how to do this, some of it will rub off. If you have to do it the really slow way and just do it the free way, at least you're starting to build value points and you're starting to build information. Because look, even if you start with a couple of $100, just by understanding where the charts are likely to go and not just buying in going, oh, I've got $100, $500, and just banging it straight in to a spot account. If you're able to be patient and get it 20, 25% lower, that's 20, 25% more coins that you've accrued for the same amount of money. And if you can keep dollar cost averaging and you give yourself $100 a month, $200 a month, $500 a month, and just keep buying in. And then if you've got the personality type for the day trading and taking more action on the trades, then you can really start to blow this up. Like Andy said, he took 30,000 up to 300 grand, which is pretty spectacular. And all low risk, right? That's the thing. Low risk, high probability.
Yeah, risk.
That should be another t-shirt for sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, we've seen it, and it's got to be done in the right conditions. We've seen students turn $500 into $7,000-8,000 quite quickly, but the conditions were right for that. So that's important. That's why we always say context, because sometimes people are joining our program and saying, oh, how do I do that? Well, you need the conditions as well as the knowledge. If right now you're leveraging into Bitcoin and it's at resistance, well, if you're literally leveraging and buying and you've got this uncertainty, you're not going to grow your account. Whereas when you've got that open air up and the way cryptos work, they go parabolic. You can you were literally getting into trades, tight stop, and then you were making a 10x very quickly on your trade, because by timing the market, everything's going up, it's flying up. You're able to make and grow your account super, super fast with really low risk. And that condition will come back. You've just got to be ready and knowledge up, ready with your plan. And those conditions will be back again. We're getting better now. There's still opportunities. I mean, look, I'm taking trades, but it's, the growth is slower now. I'm not able to grow it as fast as what I did before, but I understand that. And that's the important thing. I understand that I'm not going to be pushing my account right now, going big risk when the market it's deciding which way it's going to go. But there are opportunities in that, because when there's uncertainty, it basically means you can sell highs and buy lows and just take those profits and grow your account, and then eventually use that money later on when the conditions are better. Or accumulate your spot if that's your strategy.
Awesome. Sounds like a plan, right, guys? We are going to bounce. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your week. Happy trading, guys, and we will see you next Monday. It's next Monday, isn't it? Yeah, next Monday, guys. Thanks a lot. See you later.
Take care, guys. See if you can get the music on. No, he's failing again.
Don't speak too early.
Well, and now he's turned into a robot. Now he's laughing like an evil man.
Where is the music?
Honestly. The one thing he had to do. Can you sing it for us then, mate? Because the people need the music. I think he needs to sing it.